Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your planning outlook video on Tuesday the 26th of February. Now there's big changes on the way compared to the very warm temperatures we're seeing at the moment as we open the door once again to Atlantic weather systems coming in and much cooler air. We're looking at temperatures dipping back below freezing on the mountains quite commonly into early March, and with periods of gales coming through as well as low pressure systems move through. Important to remember that the current spell of warmth that we're seeing at the moment is all part and parcel of the synoptic weather regime. High pressure has been centred over Europe for a good few days. The airflow has been persistently coming up from Africa and across Spain and Portugal for the past couple of weeks almost. It's that southerly then that has maintained the warmth and has built it day on day. Add the strong sunshine, the dry air and some local phone effects, and we've seen these exceptional temperatures. We have seen some records that have been beaten, but the overall spread of temperatures you couldn't say are absolutely unprecedented through weather history. We've seen temperatures into the upper teens and low 20s late February, early March in the past. These are temperatures that we're seeing 850 millibars, that's at around 5,000 feet at the moment. The level that we find 850 millibars will drop as pressure falls and temperatures fall, so it'll actually be nearer to 4,000 feet, around 1,200 metres by the time we go through into next week. The warmth then in place for the moment will just run on over a few days. The temperatures will just ease down as we go through into Thursday, Friday, as we just start to import the air a little bit more off the Atlantic by this stage. The big changes, though, start to properly develop as we go more into the weekend, as by that point, colder air off the North Atlantic with its source more towards northern Canada and Greenland starts to edge in our direction, and we'll see temperatures back below freezing, above, say, 800 to 1,000 metres across the Scottish mountains and close to zero on the highest tops of England and Wales too. This takes you through into Sunday, and these temperatures shown here, around -3 or so, would be fairly representative of what you'd see on Ben Nevis and Cairngorm. I'll just skip on over a few days into next week and you'll see how it's the colder air mass that does hold out. This going forwards over a few days, even something much colder coming across into Scotland at values -5 shown on this chart even temporarily. I think cycles of freeze and thaw may well take place, but on the higher terrain you may find yourself at or below freezing most of the time through the course of next week. These are the charts for the next few days ahead, and for Wednesday, high pressure is still in charge, and it's the familiar pattern to what we're seeing just at the moment. We've pushed fronts away northwards, so any of the residual low cloud that's been around northwest Scotland on Tuesday will more or less have gone, and it's sunshine practically across the board for Wednesday. Some banks of low cloud may just drift on to the far western coast of Scotland at times. Chance of a bit of fog also around the Irish Sea. Winds are fairly light, and temperatures again will be very warm. Subtle changes through into Thursday as we pick up more of an Atlantic flow, little bits of fronts moving their way eastwards, enough to produce more in the way of cloud and the risk of some patchy rain, maybe the odd isolated showery burst across Wales. Bits and pieces of rain may just edge on to western hills in Scotland. For many it's a dry day and there could still be some extensive cloud breaks across the hills, some early low-level fog patches, a little bit messy in terms of who sees cloud breaks, but still a reasonable day. Winds are fairly light, maybe just across Wales. Those westerlies will be stronger. Into Friday, still got a ridge of high pressure around, uncertainty as to what extent there is low cloud, mostly focused across western coastal hills I suspect. The main change with more active fronts coming in starting to show itself across Ireland. That will move inwards and rain will develop more widely across western hills by the end of Friday, probably only after it goes dark. The wind will strengthen from the south as the day goes on. Big changes then on Saturday as a deep area of low pressure comes sweeping in from the Atlantic very quickly. Some uncertainty of the absolute timing and detail of this system, but it's the idea of upland gales or severe gales across many of the mountains and a period of heavy rain with snow across the higher tops in Scotland as colder air is wrapped around this system. So much different story to what we're seeing just at the moment. Keep a close eye on your forecast details, but expect it to be a much more active day. March then really coming in like a lion, as the old saying goes. Now, I won't try and get anything too detailed into Sunday because there's uncertainty about just how that system on Saturday behaves. Basically the idea of lower pressure and a windy day with a westerly flow in charge and that chillier air mass that is around. And as we go on over a few days into next week, low pressure and a drag of colder air coming around from the northwest is what is likely to prevail. Showers then with snow and hail and a risk of a rumble of thunder in there at times, back to a classic showery westerly over a good few days. There could be more organised troughs and bits of fronts that come through just to give some more frequent precipitation in there at times as well. Western and northwestern mountains most prone to those showers. There may be little ridges of high pressure that try to come through just to give the odd quieter day. I wouldn't get the detail at this stage for the middle of next week, but it still looks as though low pressure over the North Atlantic is what will dominate as we head towards the later stages of the week. So a pretty unsettled trend, I think, will be the order of things through the first 10 days of March at least. Just to highlight the scope for some snow next week, this is the modelled forecast snow depth for next Tuesday at that point, and it shows the scope for lying snow across the northwestern highlands, the Cairngorms, even the southern uplands, and picking out something across the Lakes, Pennines and Snowdonia too. So all highlighting this change of pattern, freezing levels down to 600 to 800 metres at times as we go through into next week. So putting the mountains back into winter mode, just to remind us that the season is not quite ready to be pushed into the history books just yet. So we're seeing a big taste of spring at the moment, but as can often happen, the season's taking a step backwards as we go into March. Stay right up to date with your very latest details every single day on the Mountain Weather website, and we'll update this video again for you on Friday. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.